Dover, I got it right, not gonna lie. I thought Denny Hamlin was gonna win. He almost didn't win. Chase Elliott gave him a run for his money. Christopher Bell kind of almost gave him a run for his money, but definitely when Denny took control, got in the lead and took control, it was his race to lose. I think they knew that by going with by not pitting. That's obvious. They wanted to just stay with the track position, and they got just enough people to stay out. Christopher Bell got the perfect caution. He took himself out, tracing for the lead. Caution immediately falls. He gets right back into the same spot, chasing for the lead at the end again. Yeah, I mean, it was great. It was tough, the hour rain delay. You hated to see that. You glad you got to see it end under green. Unlike the Xfinity race, but both ways. If it would have been called the same winner won, I think that's the same thing that would have happened with the Xfinity race, and they kind of knew it. Connor Zelich, just dominated that race once he took control, just like Denny. And man, I'm going to talk about him a little bit later in this video, but he is one hell of a prospect, one hell of a talent. I know I've been talking about him a little bit so far before mentioning his name, but man, he's really on my radars as someone next year or in the coming years that will really explode and win a lot of races. I see him. Well, I'll talk about it later. I want to talk about the new tire. It was a little bit weird not having a practice, not having qualifying with the new tire. We got that little weird competition caution. I still think they didn't really end up knowing a whole lot from it. You saw Denny, especially with no practice, with no qualifying. First time out there, he looked dominant, like you'd expect. Some of the Joey Logano, Kyle Busch, even surprisingly, he seemed to like practice. He's in one of those that are really missing out on that right now. He still kind of came with the pretty good car. He stayed towards the front quite a bit in the top 10, and you saw some comers and goers in the pack, but it's still just not enough with the aero blocking and the way this car is set up, aero-wise, the way that with the in-car camera, with all the ways that drivers have now to play insane defense, it's really hard for you to find comers and goers at the front. And even, man, like with Christopher Bell chasing down with like 50 lap pressure tires, it still can't get past them. There's obviously some sort of problem there, and it's more with the car. It's more what we've come to know, and we will see till something is done, until we get a new car or until they try and make more steps to make this car better. Maybe it's the horsepower. We know that's going up a little bit. Probably still not enough, but we'll take what we get. Obviously, Goodyear's always still coming to work, trying to bring better tires. And we give them a little too much flack for a problem they didn't create entirely. New topic, Ty Dillon going for the final versus Ty Gibbs. We're going to Indy. This is a pretty, dominant cars dominate this track. So it's going to be, Ty Dillon has his work cut out for him, unless Gibbs gets into a quick crash, or JGR has one of its problems we've seen earlier on when their car just fails. Anything could really happen. I'm rooting for Ty Dillon. I think this would be awesome for him to win. Number 32 on the year one that it starts. I know people have been really upset by it, but I think this is wonderful. I think it's great. I think all brackets being hard to predict is what it needs. This challenge is supposed to be in like a storybook beginning to the tournament, is something this needed, I think, to gain as much traction as it has. And it hasn't been overlooked as this kind of the NBA in-season tournament has really been overlooked, and I don't feel like this fell under the same category. At the end of every race, they're talking about it. At the beginning of every race, they're talking about it, and like they're talking about it, the drivers do care. I mean, like Danny has said, they care. No matter how many drivers say they don't, everyone else around them says they do. So, I mean, it's not that assuming that they really do, and that $1 million is something that they do care about. Christopher Bell finished 18th. It really could have been a way worse day when he took himself out, not once, but twice. The second time, it seemed like he was kind of... You obviously could tell he was racing with the teammate, and he wasn't going to push the issue. If he wasn't, you probably don't see him spin there, and you probably see him win the race. But it is Denny. It is a teammate. He is going to race him different. Yeah, I mean, I'm not too surprised by what happened. I'm more surprised Christopher Bell got the luck he did, and that he still finished 18th. And he can't really cry about today. Larson finally got a good finish. He won an outdoor sprint car race, his high limit. And then I don't think he won any for the World Outlaws. He won $100,000. Seemed like that kind of gave him a little bit of an urge. But I think Kyle Larson knows the playoffs are coming up. That's really what he's earing for. And who knows, I might pick him later to win this race at Indy. His playground, really. Ty Gibbs, another great finish. He's just been stringing them along. And if he has another good one last week, he comes home with $1 million. I mean, he really got hot right at the beginning of this tournament. And has, just good position after another. And then he's finishing the race with good position. So, I thought by now he'd probably have broke through and won a race. He hasn't. But now he has, new sound up there on the pit box. It seems things are going more in the best direction for him, it seems like, recently. And, it shows. Alex Bowman, he had a good showing. Jason Elliott, teammate, had another great showing, top 10. He could have easily been the winner of this race if not for rain, some bad pit caution, pit calls. Yeah, he had the race in his hands, but you can see how he was able to fumble it pretty easily. I wouldn't say it's a huge blunder. He still got a great finish. He still recently has been great finishes. One at Atlanta. I think he's looking sharp for the start of the playoffs. Bubba Wallace, top 10. Busher and Keselowski, top 10s. RFK. Kyle Busch finished 11th. He saw him a little bit higher, more in the race. Still finishing top 11. I think you heard what Richard Childress said. I don't know. They're just they don't have the speed to win. He has the talent. He's wheeling them almost there. He almost won a lot at the end of last year. He can't seal the deal because that car just doesn't have the speed some of the other cars have. And that's what Richard Childress said. I know he's the owner, so it kind of falls back on his own feet. Yeah, I don't know what they need to get over the hump to get him back in victory lane. I really don't. It was Hendrick and JGR dominance. Penske, the other top team, really had nothing for him. Ryan Blaney, he was able to drive through the pack, but once he got to that top 10 of Hendrick and JGR and the top runners, he was not able to move any more to the front. And he kind of stagnated around there. And this is kind of a little bit worrisome for Penske. Usually it's been the opposite, and they came a little stronger out of the beginning and have gotten a little bit weaker as the year has gone on and haven't really gotten that pickup that they normally do right about now. I don't know if it's time to be worried yet, but that time is getting close. I know in IndyCar they've had some trouble. They've made a lot of moves. They fired Tim Cindric. I don't know if that's been the problem. I know they were more on the Indy side anyways, but still, those are major heads at that place. People are probably being moved around on both sides of the spectrum. So, you know, uh, it might be too much for him this playoff with everything going on in Indy. Um, you'd hate for that to be the reason why they tail off in NASCAR, but you could tell why. If you know why, if you know about everything going on in IndyCar. To rate this race, I'm gonna give it a 5.5. I think. I mean, it was good. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad. It wasn't. It was just like it wasn't mid, but I mean close. And it hurts a little bit more that you had an hour break before you could get the last 14 laps. Um, you know that punches it a little bit, but I don't think we can be mad. We've had some good races. They haven't been great, but they haven't been bad, like we saw a little bit earlier on in the year. Yeah, Indianapolis next week. I do think Kyle Larson will win. It's kind of just his playhouse. Obviously, he just gets so many reps in IndyCar doing the Indianapolis 500. He has all of May there, and I know it's not the same car, but just that experience. He's doing the double header. He's racing in the Xfinity race. He's going to have the most experience in laps of anybody by probably times 10. And, you saw him win last year pretty handily. And not only is it a track where the best teams come and do the best drivers come here and do the best. And who's who of winners that are all just massive, massive names. And I expect the Hendrick 5 to win. Thank you all for watching. I'm now going to do a San Diego video that just got announced yesterday. And I think it'll be fun to talk about. So it'll be a little video next. Thank you.